Welcome back, everybody, to Cool Times Podcast, where we talk all things cool about the cold storage construction industry. We are your hosts, Vince and Jenna. Today, we have an amazing guest on today, a unique guest because we haven't had this segment on our show before. This gentleman has a decade of experience in the cold storage industry, the door industry, many backgrounds from TKO, ASI, and now is in charge of the cold storage segment for Miner Corp. Ladies and gentlemen, Wes Ledford. What's up, bro?
Welcome to the podcast, Wes.
How are you guys? It's great to be here.
Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to hear about Miner and your position there and everything that you guys are up to. So why don't you give us a little intro about yourself, and we'll get into what Miner does a little bit down the road.
Yeah. So I reside in Marietta, Georgia. I've lived here pretty much going on about 12 years. Love the Atlanta area, just the access it gives me to, get around the country. But, moved here with a company, pretty large company, Granger, quite a few years ago, and kind of got my first touch into, the distribution center world through them. Was able to work with some cold storage companies back then, and just fell in love with the industry. And, really just this industry is such a, episode of how it's made, every day that, I kind of love that. And, being a student of the game, it's fun. But, I live in Marietta with my three kids and my wife of 22 years. And,
amazing.
You just celebrated anniversary, didn't you?
Yeah, June 17th was 22 years for us. So we got married pretty young, but, we've been able to work through it. So, but when I'm not, working, I'm typically mountain biking or fly fishing. Just love the outdoors as well.
Fly fishing is so fun. Have you ever?
I've never got to fly fish, but I love fishing, freshwater fishing, like fishing for bass. Top water bait's my favorite when the fish hits,
Yeah,
so
I
like fly fishing. Yeah,
I just got home yesterday from Tampa, and man, if I'd fly rod, I saw 3 snook, that were just cruising around the docks, and I'm constantly looking for a way to kill an hour. So I need to keep a fly rod in my backpack. That would be much easier.
A lot of our field guys travel with fishing poles with them because there's ponds and lakes all over the country where we work, and they just, after work, they'll fish.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's super fun and super relaxing.
Oh, absolutely. Love it. Georgia's a great spot too, because it has everything you need from the great outdoors, right?
It does.
4 seasons, and it's centrally located. Like you said, you can get around everywhere. So are you covering the entire country for Miner right now?
Yeah. So basically, I covered the cold storage vertical for Miner's strategic accounts division, and that encompasses the entire country. Right now Miner is in, 35 states or so, but our goal, I would say in the next 5 years is to canvass the entire United States, and it's easy to say, yeah, we're going to be in all these states, but there's multiple markets in each state. You look at California, you've got LA, and then the Northern California market. So, we have to be very strategic on where we place, greenfield branches, or where we acquire, different companies to really cover service for all the end users that we work with.
Sure. Okay. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about Miner Corp and what you guys do, whose products you carry, just tell, because a lot of this audience may have never heard of Miner. So if you're introducing Miner to a brand new person, who are you?
Yeah. So I would say Miner is a division of On Point Group, which is a much larger company, but the company as a whole, being On Point, really focuses on forklifts, power management, even as, down to the nitty gritty of plumbing and electrical and some of those things. But Miner focuses on loading dock equipment and primarily the preventative maintenance and service, related to those products. So, we're a very safety oriented company, because we're driving safety within these facilities, to keep their critical equipment running, as good as it possibly could with the age and, types of products that travel across, metalworking parts, being a dock leveler and, things like that. So, but our job is just to keep the critical pieces of equipment working properly. That's it. We do, also provide equipment. We're a distributor of, 7 or 8 different brands, of product.
Okay.
And they let you do that, and they're comfortable with that. Like all the different dock door companies. I mean, they don't. You don't have to specify to one brand. You can do all of them. In some spots, it's very regional. We may be, a different brand representative in the Atlanta market. California, we may represent a competing brand, but really, with the strategic account business, obviously we're working on that situation with some of the manufacturers, because there are lines that you can't cross, but, obviously everybody's dealing with that, but, yes. Minor being very brand independent, it puts us in a situation where we really try to fit the product to the application. And you guys know how it is too, with lead times and, price increases and inflation. We're doing our best to meet the customer's budget and timeline. And then what best is going to work for us if we're going to service that equipment after the fact, because it really comes down to, can you acquire parts and pieces, from the manufacturer that you're purchasing from? If you're a little bit more brand open, gives us a little bit more capability to help you. Yeah. In some cases, there's companies out there that if they don't sell it, they don't want to service it or touch it. Are you guys carry that same philosophy, or you guys don't carry, just want to service the customer and it is what it is? If you don't sell it and 6 months down the road, they need a guy to come in and just clean something up, fix it, repair it. Is that something that you guys would do?
Yeah, we service everyone's equipment, even competing manufacturers. One of the exciting things that we're doing right now related to that, we have an offering that we can come in and, basically asset tag, every piece of equipment that you have in that facility that you want us to, being your dock leveler restraint, cold storage doors, infit doors, high-speed doors, even air door technology, and, keep up with that equipment for you, from a PM maintenance standpoint. So, you prolong the life of that product. You don't care what manufacturer made it. Obviously, it helps to partner with, some manufacturers out there, but, really our goal is to service the customer, being the end user that's going to stay, in that facility. And you guys know how it is. I'm sure your service and your business is great. Vince, I've heard your name for years, being in the industry, but you know what I mean?
Paying them all very well.
Yeah. You're trying to get to the next new project. That's kind of the way the world works. And, Minor fills a gap that, can help a contractor or GC, help the box, cold box builder.
Why are we not doing this yet? That is one of my biggest pains right now is, we wrap up a job, we button it all up and 3 months down the road, they make the building cold and things move all over the place. And it's like, we need someone to come in and do minor adjustments, but we're already all in on the next one. And it's just so hard to like go back and make that happen. But we do, but did we just become best friends? Like,
I think so.
Let's go, man.
Yeah. I've got a lot of best friends in this industry.
I love it.
But it's, talking with some of the manufacturers, that I've worked for, I'm coming from that world, and I get it. I saw this, huge need for service after the fact, and being a TKO representative, I can provide parts and, things like that, but I'm really subbing, out the service. Hey, could you do me this favor and go back, and adjust the tension on these doors or, whatever it is, or troubleshoot the limits on a high-speed door. And Miner really fills that gap well. You know, we have highly skilled people that work on, you know, all of the dock equipment, including the high-speed doors and, you know, even the air door technology that, you know, really we're not being tapped into on the cold storage side as much as we could.
Wes, you're about to get blown up after this comes out. All right. I think I got a lot of my friends are going to be calling you.
Well, that's good.
Well, how do they find you? How do they find Wes? How do they find him?
I don't know. Wes, how do we find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. Cell phone number is on LinkedIn, at least the work number. You know, my email address is just wes.ledford@minercorp.com. And, you know, I may not be the person to actually work with, you know, people that call, but I know the company well enough at this point to put you with, you know, the right expert to, you know, service your account or your facility.
That's awesome.
How do we find your company? What's your website?
It's just minercorp.com. You know, there's a slew of resources on there. You know, the podcast is great. You know, my boss has been doing some, you know, equipment downtime sort of podcast the past couple of weeks. And,
you know, cool.
we're trying to stay on the cutting edge, you know, of letting people know what's going on, you know, with the industry right now. So
speaking of that, if you could tell anyone right now where the industry's at, lead times, your gut feeling on things, you know, what do you know right now? Like, how's everything going in regards to lead times and where are we at with this industry? How do you feel?
From my standpoint, you know, being somewhat brand independent, you know, our lead times may be a little bit better, you know, because if we're talking about a specification of equipment, you know, we may be able to shorten that lead time for you. You know, some manufacturers have 35, 40 week lead time, you know, as it relates to dock equipment. And, you know, dock doors, you know, unless you're going after a specialty dock door right now, you know, like a TKO, you know, you're going to pay, you know, the waiting time of getting those products, because the construction market is booming, you know, tremendously. So it's hard for these manufacturers to keep up. I feel for them, you know, and know they're working as quickly and as efficiently as they possibly can. But, you know, just a funny note, my wife and I both work out of our home. We office together, and she's in the electrical manufacturing world. And she's been in that industry for 22 years. But she was telling me, you know, about it's an electrical part that she sells to every customer out there. And just that one electrical part had 400 vendors, you know, that provided parts and pieces that go into this little, you know, electrical piece like that. And trying to manage 400 vendors, there's no way. You know, she has lead times that are 16 months long, you know, right now. So you imagine the folks that are screaming and yelling for their products, you know, in our business. She's beaten up at the end of the day, you know.
I would just take a 16-month vacation and say, hey, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
That is unreal. Wow.
Do you guys like sharing a home office? We did at the beginning of our venture. We were in a shared office as well. And I don't know, we had some fun.
Yeah, it's nice. It gets a little crowded when the kids are home for summer, you know, but I've always worked from home. You know, she was kind of forced into working from home during COVID, you know, years. But it's just worked out. You know, we eat lunch every day and talk to each other throughout the day. But, you know, when we're both on conference calls, somebody's got to leave the room. You know, it gets a little busy, you know, during that.
Anytime Vince was on the phone, I had to like go to the opposite side of the house. Sorry.
Right.
I guess I'm loud. One would say. God. I enjoyed working with you.
We had a good time. Yeah. It's like you do.
We didn't have any HR in our office, so I could do whatever I wanted. It was great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Harassment didn't exist between us.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally have underwear on right now and just a nice shirt.
I wouldn't know.
Who says we don't?
Right.
Who says we don't? Yeah. Dude, that's hilarious.
Well, let me ask, Wes, you had said that you had gotten started in the cold industry, kind of fell in love with it. Do you have, I like to ask this question of all of our guests, like a cool moment or a cool story from your time in cold storage that you'd want to share, or that maybe just stands out in your mind as, wow, like this is an industry I'd like to stay working in, or these are people I'd like to stay working with. And this cool moment will be brought to us today by our sponsor, Rytech.
Yeah, there's been a lot. It's like I said, it's always, an episode of how it's made, but probably early on, coming into the industry fully with TKO, I was in a pig kill plant, in North Carolina. And, we had put quite a few TKOs into that facility, but I was asked to go look at a blast freezer, and I'd never been in a blast freezer before, but it was 40 below. And, I had my little sweater on kind of like this. And, I've got my pen and my phone. And, we just started selling some high-speed doors, through our division. And, I was asked to look at this application. And, we go from 40 degrees to 20 degrees to -10. -10, my nose hairs started freezing up. And, I was like, what? This is really, really cold. And then we got closer to that -40 degree blast freezer, and my phone died. My pen froze up. I couldn't write, and I was just, visibly just shaking, from how cold it was. And it's just blowing humid, cold air just right on top of your head. And I'm bald. So, my head was freezing too. But, after that experience, I was like, I love this. This is nobody in their right mind wants to be in this situation, and I was cold, and I knew next time I'm going to prepare, before I go in here, I'm going to get a jacket, today, because I want to keep going into these situations because nobody else is going to want to do them. And, that was kind of my aha moment. I found a niche.
And dude, you can't dress warm enough in them things. Even if you do jacket, winter hat, and you're in there, like it's still 3 minutes, and you're like, I'm cold, because everything is cold. It don't matter. Everything's cold. Yeah.
Yeah. The guys that are going in and out, of freezers constantly, I was thinking, how do I get a heated jacket, to get me through stuff like this? But it was a fun experience.
We got to recognize those guys. There's so many employees, warehouse employees that operate forklifts and pick pallets in -10, -20 ice cream freezers and blast freezers that literally make the world go around with our food supply chain and get product onto trucks and trucks to the grocery store that we consume. And dude, they don't get enough love, dude. So if anyone drives a forklift right now and works in that environment, dude, we love you. Shout out to you, man. That's freaking awesome. Had to give them love. That's cold, man.
It's cold.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was going to ask you some really hard questions. Are you ready for hard questions?
Oh, sure. Let's roll.
I typically ask, why do people buy from you? But I want to dig a little deeper into that and ask, in your opinion, what's the advantage of buying through a distribution network like Miner versus going direct from the manufacturer?
I think it's a lot of what we talked about before, with the service piece of it baked into, acquiring the equipment. We're one manufacturer is going to push sometimes the only product they have, that fits the application, and when you're working with a GC or an end user, most folks want to cut one purchase order, that's easier on their payroll system, their AP department, whatever it is. And, with our ability to work with multiple manufacturers and provide the service, network on the back end, we're positioned in a way that, hey, if that's the situation where you're looking for, we're kind of your huckleberry, on that. So
it's so true. That's a great point. It is. A lot of times, I mean, when I work directly for a manufacturer, it's the same way. we'd sell the thing and, you know, either the client had to install it, or we'd have to go out and hire someone like a miner to install the product. But, you know, the manufacturer's not typically going back and repairing or fixing anything. They really rely on the experts, like a miner, to come in and do that. Whether it's startup too, that's huge. Startup is huge on any product you put in. Training on that product, right? How many times do you install a product, or our competitors install a product and just walk away, and I got a brand new product, I don't know how to use it, right?
Yeah.
Startup is huge, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's setting limits. You know, you have relay switches that go bad in the first little bit. As soon as you cut the thing on, you know, somebody slips up and hammers a dock door the first day they, you know, turn on the facility. It's lots of things happen out there that, you know, miners going to be there whether we're at the beginning or, you know, after the fact. But obviously it keeps us a little bit more ingrained, you know, if we're with you from the start.
And safety is a big thing too, right, Wes? I mean, if you Google like forklift accidents on YouTube, you'll see how dangerous dock levelers can be, dock restraints, how important they are. So just that level of safety and training on that probably goes a long way. Yeah,
absolutely. Like our service professionals are, you know, go through monthly, weekly trainings, do, you know, job site discussions before they start projects. You know, we're a very safety oriented company, and safety is paramount in the industry right now. So yeah, and everyone has their opportunities, you know, to get better with safety. But, you know, I would say, you know, that safety is utmost importance all the way to the top, you know, with Miner, On Point Group, and then, you know, our private equity group that's above that.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think the biggest misconception is for what you do? How would your friends and family describe what you do? Or what's a big misconception about what you do?
I mean, my family's pretty educated because we, you know, work out of the home, and, you know, my kids they could probably sell you a TKO dock door.
I love it.
You know, they're very sales oriented kids, but you know, I know in the beginning, you know, just kind of getting rolling with, you know, you say dock door, somebody says, you know, what's a dock door? Are you a doctor or, you know, something like that? But
I thought I heard them all. That's pretty good.
That was a good one.
Right. But I mean, there's people that understand, you know, what I do. They know a little bit, just enough to keep them, you know, in the dark, I guess, with what we do. But I don't think a lot of people understand the cold storage industry. That don't understand distribution. You know, maybe COVID changed that, you know, a little bit, but I still don't think the average person really knows, you know, what goes into everything that's happening with the industry.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you.
And it's crazy because most of these door companies are in the Midwest, right? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I would say high-speed doors, dock doors, they're all manufactured in either Wisconsin or, you know, somewhere in that area, for sure.
All within 20 miles of where we grew up.
We were, born and raised.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually love Wisconsin. It's one of the greenest states.
You don't have to say actually. We get it. Wisconsin's cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, you've got muskie up there. You've got ice fishing. You know, it's a great place to visit.
Ice fishing up there is awesome.
Yeah.
I've done my fair share of ice fishing up there.
I've been going up to Crivets, you know, with a friend of mine for quite a few years. And, you know, obviously you end up drinking more beer than you catch fish, but, you know,
Wisconsin.
it's still a great time. The first time I went, you know, and I'll tell the story real quick if it's okay.
Yeah, of course.
I had never I've always fished with, you know, a rod, you know, or a fly rod. So you're constantly moving. And the first time we go up there, we use the auger and, we drill 20 holes out there, and there's 6 or 8 of us out there. And, we drill all these holes, and we were using tips, so you got your plank, and everything starts
Fish
rolling.
Pops up.
Yeah, everybody just sits back and drinks beer, but we're probably a good 50 yards away from all these tips. And, a tip pops up and one guy just takes off running, and then 3 other guys are taking off running. And I just started running after him thinking, what the heck is going on? Is there like a bear coming or something like that?
Ice breaking.
Yeah. And, we slide, first guy slides into the first tip and grabs the rod and, jerks this, I think it was a northern pike, they pulled up the first time, but I was hooked. I mean, I was just like, this is the most fun you can have fishing. So
sit around, drink beer, and just yell, tip up.
Spikes of adrenaline there.
That's what we used to do all the time. We used to do it. On Bass Bay in Muskego, and we used to have our ice skates on because we would play a lot of ice hockey out there. And our neighbor's dad had a plow, and you'd go out in the lake and plow a big hockey rink for us, right, and move the snow. So we could throw up tip ups everywhere, right, and we could be just in our ice skates playing hockey, messing around, and tip up, boom, beeline, skate over to the tip up, dude. It was great.
I bet there were some good tackles, and checks on that.
Absolutely. It was fun.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I like it.
Well, Wes, what's your, you've gone to trade shows before, right?
I haven't been to your trade show.
It's not my trade show. Okay.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite, a trade show that you go to?
I haven't done a ton of trade shows in the cold storage industry, but, this year I was able to go to Modex and, with my time with Granger, we went to Modex and a lot of other trade shows, through the years. So I would have to say Modex at this point.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's 45 minutes from my house. So, it was
convenient.
Yeah, I was able to go for 2 or 3 days and, really understand, some of the dock equipment manufacturers a little bit better and, how they work and that sort of thing. Cause I've been probably more on one manufacturer side. So developing some relationships with some of the other manufacturers was really good to do, and learn quite a bit about some of the new products they have coming out. So it was great, but I'm looking forward to being involved in SEBA and, seeing what that's got to offer as well.
Well, we would love to have you.
We would.
It's not my trade show, to be fair. It's not mine.
It's true. It's not yours.
I serve on the board.
Some other guys. I've talked to some other contacts within SEBA too, and
the Control Environment Building Association is great, and I think getting partners like yourselves involved would be huge. We don't have anyone doing what you're doing coming to the show right now, I don't think. Yeah. So it's something we're, I think Miner's poised to, be a big player in this industry, but it's also something we're working on the plane, while we're flying it. So, it's something that's going to continue to grow. And, my job is to understand, from the end user perspective in GC and all the players in the industry, what do you need? What do you need us to, be proficient at so that we can take that off your plate, and what I've noticed, especially with my time in, the high performance world and the company you also worked with, folks are going up with their door heights, because of the robotics and the automation on the cold side. And, with that going on, you've got to have skilled people that are focused mainly on getting that product set right. Yep. And, I'm not saying they don't have time to work on dock equipment, but, if the way COVID has taught us is that, we don't have access to people, like we did 3 years ago, and there's a shortage of people out there, especially skilled people,
that can work on these items. And, right now, Miner has 400 plus, trucks on the road that are capable of doing service in 35 states, I believe. And, we're acquiring new businesses, every month. I think we just announced our most recent acquisition 2 days ago up in the Northeast. And, we're working on the Northwest, the Northern California market. We're trying to fill in the gaps.
What Northeast, where? Can you say?
Jersey.
Oh, very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how far would that branch go?
Typically these guys will travel, within 2 to 3 hours comfortably. But I have customers that are, in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, and with the strategic, type customer, we're going after, basically I'm dealing with customers that probably have, 20 to, 50 or even 100 facilities, scattered across the country. So we've got to respond in some fashion, to every one of their facilities. That's our goal, in the next 5 years, is to canvas the US. And then
that's awesome.
10 years out, hopefully be more moving towards a more global platform,
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Really exciting.
That is exciting. Well, a lot of stuff going on with y'all, man. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about yourself, Miner? We want to be obviously cognizant of your time here today. So anything else that you want to share?
No, I just very much appreciate the opportunity to come on. I know I'm not the, kind of unique in this situation. And, I hope to get to know you and, how you guys work in the future. And if we can ever help you guys out, let me be, at least on your list to call,
absolutely.
Including the listeners.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it's definitely going to work out, but we're not letting you off the hook this fast because we do have a rapid round question.
Cool rapid round question.
A cool rapid round question sponsored by Rytech. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you got to say one or the other that I ask you, this or that, and that's it. You ready?
Okay.
And this will help everyone get to know you a little bit better.
Shoot.
All right. Sweater or hoodie?
Oh, hoodie.
Motorcycle or bicycle?
Bicycle.
Book or ebook?
Book.
When you're sleeping, are you fan or no fan?
Absolutely fan.
Yeah, for sure. Ninjas or pirates?
Pirates.
Freshwater fishing or ice fishing?
I would say freshwater.
Cold beer or
Aren't
cold
they
drink?
both freshwater?
Well, yeah, they are. They are. Summer fishing on a boat, or ice fishing.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, I'd probably go ice fishing for that. So.
Oh, awesome. Cold beer or cold drink?
Depends on the time of the year, but I would say cold drink.
Beach side or pool side?
Poolside, for sure.
Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake?
No, I'd go Timberlake.
There you go, baby.
There you go. Nice, dude. I love it.
Well, thank you, Wes, so much for joining us today and sharing with us about yourself, about Miner. We really appreciate having guests that we maybe haven't talked to before, industry professionals we haven't talked to before. So thank you for your time.
Wes, you're a stud. Thank you so much. And to all the listeners out there, thank you guys. You guys can find our work on all 4 platforms of social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. If you want to watch our podcast, you can log on to YouTube and search for Cool Times Podcast. Hit the red subscribe button. Watch our video so you can see how handsome Wes is. And then you can listen to it on in your car on Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast.
So, all right, guys. Wes, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. All right, guys. Till next time. Cheers.